Blind Guy Cooking.
We're going to make the lasagna today. We're going to not only make lasagna, but we're going to make manigot with whatever cheese we have left over from this big bowl. We've got all these cheeses here. And this is the first installment of Blind Guy Cooking. I am blind. There's a camera back there. I can't see it. So if I don't look at the camera, don't worry about it. We're doing this today for a special benefit for the Blind Veterans Association of America. The Eagles Lodge in D'Iberville is actually hosting the benefit, and we're going to donate all the proceeds to the Blind Veterans Association for a special museum trip over to New Orleans to the World War II Museum. And what we're doing is we're going to have a lasagna cook-off. I'm making my lasagna with real ragout, whole fat milk, cheese, good stuff. Mozzarella, good mozzarella and everything. And my competitor is making hers with cottage cheese. So first thing, I got all my stuff out here, I think. I got my sauce here, it's homemade. I make it myself a couple gallons at a time, and I can it. Then we're gonna use oven-ready lasagna. There's two ways to do it. One is with the boil lasagna, which is good, there's nothing wrong with it. And these here, which are even just as good. And my bride and I, when we were talking about it, I said, should we do the boil or this? And she said, just do this. It's just as good. She doesn't have a problem with it. The only difference between this and the boil is this will absorb moisture. So you want to make your mixtures a little bit soupy because it will be absorbed into the noodles, okay? So that's our sauce, our cheese, our noodles. We're gonna fill this pan up, 3-4 layers, doesn't matter. The thicker, the heavier, the better. When people look at it and go, oh my gosh, what is that? You know you've made a pretty good impression. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this mozzarella, and this is good stiff mozzarella. I gotta find the opening, peel it open. And there's one. And it has the instructions or the nutritional ingredients there. And somebody got a bowl there for my trash. You see me throw everything in there, I'll sort it out later. Again, for those of you that are watching this, that are blind, you know the struggles that we can have. I spent quite a bit of time this morning sorting it all out and getting it ready. If you have somebody help you, it's certainly okay. This is one of those meals that's fun to do with kids. Kids love doing this. It's something that they can get themselves into, have a good time. Everybody can get their own job. My son is grown up, but my neighbors have left, and they took their kids with them. And I prefer that they would have left them because they like doing things like this, and I like doing things like this with them. I'm gonna take that down just a little bit more off. And get that in there. There's one, and there's two. And I want to have all these done pretty much so I can just go one after the other and just keep feeding them down in there. So there's that mozzarella grated up for us. Get our other bowl and our trash bowl, because we do have little covers inside of this. And we open these up. And this is the piece that's trash. And again, if I know easy ways to do these things, I will definitely let you know. This is one of those ones where I've got to get a knife and slice it is going to be a whole lot easier. So I got a little paring knife and just slice around it. Get the plastic off. Get yourself a spatula. Oh, that's a knife. There's the spatula. And just scrape it off. Goes in there. There's one. Take that and just put it in there. Ragout is very similar to cottage cheese. It's just better, I think. And since I'm doing this, that's what counts. So there's our ragout in the bowl. Okay, they're all mixed in there good, and I got a big wooden spoon I'm going to use too. And normally when I do this, I scrape all these containers out extremely well. I'm not doing that this time. I'm just getting it together. So there's that. Mix in the cheese. All right. And if we have cheese left over, I'm going to make some manigot. And we're going to freeze that up. And that way when I go to work at the VA, I volunteer there, I can put it in the oven in the morning, frozen. It can thaw all day and the oven can turn on automatically. And by the time I come home at night, I got a wonderful smelling bunch of food here. All right. Lots of mozzarella. Lots of ergot. I'm going to add in some Italian seasoning here. Simply because I want some, and that was quite a bit. But that'll be all right. And we're going to add in 2 eggs because we got about 2 quarts of cheese that we did. There's 1. 2. And now just mix it all together. So that's where we're at with that. We've got 2 pounds of ground beef, 1 pound of ground pork, and a ½ pound of hot and ½ pound of mild Italian sausage. So I got a total of 4 pounds. What I do is I do a 50% beef, 25% pork, and 25% sausage. And in this, we're going to put 2 eggs. And I'm not going to worry too much about seasoning this one up a little bit, with the exception I will put some pasta sauce in here. And the reason we put the pasta sauce in is just to give it a little more juice in the meat. But we don't need to put spices in here because the Italian sausage takes care of the spices. So we're going to leave that like that. And here's the sauce. I put a little bit of sauce in there. I'm just going to pour it in like that. And again, this was an open jar I had. Now this mix here is one that, believe it or not, is almost a meatloaf mix. If we added in some onions and some peppers and some garlic and some breadcrumbs and stuff, this is how you could make a meatloaf. Simply take it and you make it into a loaf, drop it in a pan. If you're making meatballs, simply take a chunk, roll it up. Cook that in the sauce and it comes out very good. It'll be a little softer shell. If you want a little harder shell on a meatball, you take that, you fry it a little bit, put it in a frying pan, and it comes out a little bit harder. Just watch so you don't burn it. And then you can let it finish cooking the rest of the way in the sauce. I got the noodles here. I'm going to put some sauce. Just going to pour it in the bottom of the pan here. That's our bottom layer. And take the spoon, we'll just slather it around in there and just kind of coat the whole bottom of the pan. And I will grant you, this is quite a bit more than I typically do. This is a large pan. It's what we had around here. And we're doing this for a benefit, so I don't mind. I was very tempted to not even use the homemade sauce because it does take a while, but homemade sauce is just as cheap, if not cheaper, than store-bought. So lay your noodles in here. However you gotta lay them in here, you just kind of get them in there, cover everything. 4, 5, 6, 7, and we can break this one in half. Now we've got 1 layer in there. From there, very simple. You take either your cheese or your meat, doesn't really matter, and just kind of put it in there. Scoop it out, put it in there, spread it around. The noodles, they'll try to slide and slip and do all that fun stuff. That's all right, let it go. Remember what I told you about having kids doing this? Kids make this fun because this is the point where they can stick their little moth-eaten meat hooks in there. They can hold one and they can smear it around and finger paint and do all that stuff. And like I say, they'll have fun. They really do. And if they, well, I don't want to say if they lick their fingers and stick it back in here. You don't want to do that, but kids are kids. And when the kids lick their fingers, none of this will kill them. It's all good. There we battered it in there kind of. Doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be perfect. Just spread it around. Slide cheese out the way, grab the meat. Now some people will cook the meat first. They'll brown it all and they'll just sprinkle it in there like that. I'm doing it this way for a couple reasons. One, I like the flavor. I don't mind the fats. I think adds more flavors. Not only that, but remember what I said about adding juices. The noodles are going to suck up a lot of moisture. So the fats and everything will be sucked up in that. And, you know, everybody's, oh, well, it's unhealthy. It's lasagna. Okay? Of course it's unhealthy. It's delicious. That's what makes it unhealthy. The really healthy stuff, like kale. I'm not going to say anything more other than that, with the exception that, remember this, kale is what food eats. Life is for living. There's two ways to go through life. Happy, 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 dead, grumpy, 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 dead. Your choice. This makes it a little happy, happy, happy. All right, so now we got the meat in there. It kind of spread around like that, and that will spread out, flatten out, and everything else. And more sauce now. And we'll take our spoon, we'll spread the sauce around in there. And that's the first layer. Go back to our noodles. Now, last time I laid them all this way on this end, so this time I'm going to do it there and kind of seal the seams. I guess if you're a sheetrock kind of guy, you might appreciate me doing that. Or a boat builder, probably would appreciate that. They're in there. Go back to the cheese. Like I said, this is going to be good. We're going to let this cook at 350 degrees for at least an hour and a half. And then I'm going to pull it out. And I've got some wet mozzarella and a little bit of dry there still that I grated. And the wet mozzarella comes in a loaf. It's sliced. It comes in a round log. And I slice it a little bit thinner because they're a little too thick for me, but I'll slice it and we'll layer that on top. We'll throw it back in the oven for about 15-20 minutes, just till the cheese starts to melt and brown up a little bit. Once that's done, that's where it needs to be. At that point there, pull it out, let it sit for a few minutes, 10 minutes or so, just to get a little steam and stuff off. It'll stay warm, and at that point, then you can just slice it up, reach in there with a spatula, spoon, serve it up. And here we go, adding on the last and final layer. Right now, we have 3 full layers of cheese and meat and sauce and noodle and just yummy goodness. So now we put the sealing on it. And you do want to kind of make it look pretty good, okay? I'm actually going to go and maybe double them up a little bit, instead of breaking one in half, just to make it a little thicker in some spots. But this is the show me point. So just lay it on there. So there's that. There's the last layer of sauce and everything. And again, those noodles are going to swell up. They're going to look just like and taste just like regular old lasagna noodles. So that's all we got for now. I'll take some pictures and hopefully you'll see a big crowd of people eating some good lasagna. Thanks, everybody. Scenes of the Eagles enjoying their food and drink and everything. And we're just about to pull the winning numbers. Miss Ginger, I paid her well.
What are you doing?
You are the judge. You're being recorded to be put on the Blind Guy Cooking Show.
You paid me well to vote for you.
And we have the competition, Miss Linda. Smoking hot chick that she is. She has made her lasagna differently than we made ours. But we have judges that will take it to the limit. So right now what we've got is Miss Linda here made some wonderful lasagna. Miss Ginger here paid dearly to judge the wonderful lasagna, and I made some incredible lasagna. So right now, what do you got to say about that?
I ain't saying nothing.
She ain't saying nothing. She won't talk. Okay, Ginger, were you talking to the microphone?
Sure.
Okay. So, if you had to judge who was the winner of the first annual lasagna cook-off, who would that be?
Okay, they were both good, and it was almost like a tie, but I think Linda had a little bit more cheese in hers, so I'm going to have to go with Linda.
Yay, Linda! Yay, Linda! All right, all right.
But I still love you, Tracy.
I love you too, dear.